Welcome to the Season of Self-Love podcast. I am your host, Nyomi Banks, and I am thrilled to have you join me on this transformative journey. You see, every day we dive into a powerful conversation about self-discovery, healing, and empowerment. This podcast is brought to you by Ask Nyomi and Elevate Me Self-Discovery, where we believe that loving yourself is the first step to living a fulfilling life. You can expect insightful discussions, practical tips, and inspiring stories. Plus, we'll occasionally welcome special guests who will share their unique perspectives on self-love and personal growth. So get comfy, grab your favorite beverage, and let's embark on this journey together. Because it's time to embrace the beautiful person that you are. So let's elevate our lives one episode at a time. Now let's get started. I'm your host, Nyomi Banks, and it is Wednesday here, and I'm truly glad that you are tuning in today. You know, as always, we are walking in our theme of this year, the year of the rebirth, right? And we're a year dedicating to self-discovery, healing, and transformation. Well, this month's series is all about nurturing relationship, fostering healthy connections, and today we are talking about one of the most vital, yet often overlooked relationships we have, and that is the relationship with rest. I know I've been guilty of that, but today we are reclaiming it. We are reclaiming rest. Well, joining me is an amazing person, Nicole Richards, a transformative life coach, a retreat leader, and an advocate of high achieving women who are ready to stop surviving and start living fully. I know that's right. She knows firsthand on what burnout looks like. And more importantly, she knows how to heal from it. But before we dive in, I want to make sure that you guys download our free Year of Rebirth workbook at the seasonofselflove.com podcast. And it's a perfect tool to guide you through this ever more intentional growth. But before we bring Miss Nicole to the stage, let's take a quick break, all right? It's your girl, Goddess Nyomi Banks here on the Season of Self-Love podcast, and we'll be right back.
Ready to transform how you think about love and mental health? This May, join host Nyomi Banks and Dr. Will Washington and expert guests on love and mental health, a powerful 4-part series exploring relationships through the lens of mental wellness. Every Thursday at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time on Ask Nyomi, Bridging the Gap. Do you have a story to share? Your experience matters. Email us at asknyomi@gmail.com and be part of the conversation that's changing lives.
Washington Wellness Institute focuses on healing always. For me, if I look good, then I feel good. If I feel good, then I share the good. If I share the good, then I celebrate the good. If I celebrate the good, then I live the good. So I can be paid to be my greatest. But I have to learn the good to be the good.
So, what does it take to be the greatest? It's as simple as a free 15-minute consultation. Be kind to yourself and heal always.
All right, my beautiful people. Well, welcome back. Well, hello, Miss Nicole. How are you?
I am well. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to be here today.
I'm excited for this conversation because, girl, I need this.
Yes, I mean, you start off the show and I'm like, yes, rest is not a reward, it's a necessity, right? Like, it is so important for us, especially as Black women, right? We are always just trying to do everything and take care of everyone. And I was talking to a client today about that. Like, we're just in the trenches, right? We're just going. You're running on autopilot, right? You don't even realize you need to pause and just rest, because that's the way you're going to reflect, right? You don't go to the gym every day of the week, every hour on the hour. You take that time to stop and rest and recover, right? So why are you not doing that with your body, right? And it's not taking 8 hours of sleep, because I can go to bed when I was in the middle of my real burnout and lay down and still wake up tired. I could take a nap, still be tired, right? So it's so much more than I'm just going to lay down or I'm going to stop doing things. It's being very intentional with it.
Well, thank you. So let me tell you because I can see you about to tell it. You're about to tell it. Before we do that, let's ground ourselves with a nice meditation so we can truly be open to receive this message. All right. So my beautiful listeners, you know how we do it here every day is close your eyes. Just be present in this moment. Take a deep breath in And here we go. Take a deep breath in through your nose and hold for a moment. And slowly exhale through your mouth. Let's repeat that again. A deep inhale. Now exhale. Now I want you to set an intention for this episode. To honor your body. To honor your mind. In the sacredness of rest. Think of resting. And it's okay to rest. And repeat after me, I deserve to rest. Take one final deep breath in. And when you are ready, please open your eyes. All right, beautiful. Again, thank you, my listeners, for just joining me in this moment right here. This is something we do every day, Monday through Friday, just to help ground us before we get into the topic at hand. Miss Nicole, welcome again to the season of self-love. I am truly, truly thrilled to have you here. Let's start with your story. Can you share your personal journey of burnout, and how did it lead you to your work that you do today?
Yeah, absolutely. So I started my career as a certified public accountant. I worked from New York, but I was also an Army wife. So we traveled a lot. So I moved from West Virginia to where I am now in North Carolina. I am a mom of one. And so during that, you think you're doing everything. You have the house, you have the car, you have the child, you have all these glitz and glamours, but you just didn't feel like it was enough. So the next thing was let's get pregnant. Let's do all these things, and struggle with infertility and having fibroids and all these things. And I'm just trying to have this perfect narrative, right? If this is a problem, we're going to solve it, right? I have to have an answer. And I realized during the pandemic, that's when everything really hit. So I got pregnant again. This was probably my 4th pregnancy at the time. And, just having doctor's appointments virtually. I'm not seeing a doctor. Everything except for doing 1 or 2 tests, with the ultrasound and things like that. And because the care was abysmal, we're just going to say that's what it was.
Yeah.
I didn't get the care. I had a stillborn at 19 weeks. So that was kind of sitting in the hospital, just I can't do this anymore. I just wanted to give up on everything. I didn't want to try to fix everything, but I knew that where I was I know I'm not going to be here forever, but this really sucks. And I had to reevaluate a lot of things in my life, right? So now I'm not married anymore, right? I'm an empty nester with my son in college, and I had to look at what I needed, right? Because I had been taking care of everyone else and trying to fit this mold that everyone wanted out of me. And I never stopped to say, what do I need from me? What is it? What is going to take for me to be healed? And that was when I started opening up my eyes to, coaching and learning more about being a coach. And I transitioned out of being in corporate America over to coaching, because I realized I'm not the only one going through this. Right. And I have so much knowledge and so much experience. I want to go back and give and help others.
Thank you for sharing that. First of all, my condolences to just the whole thing. I can totally understand where you're going with that one. Now, answer me this. What were some of the first signs that you knew that you were burnt out, that you were in the burned out mode? And how did you know it was time to shift?
So the beginning stages where I didn't realize it then, but now I notice it now, is, when I started off was saying, going to take that nap or going to try to sleep the 8 hours, you try to go to bed, and your mind is racing with to-dos and all the flaws and all the mistakes and all the things I wasn't doing right. I couldn't even see the things I was doing right in my life. That was the beginning stages. And then when I started feeling it in my body, so I had the aches in my shoulders and my neck, my back, my hips, literally every part of my body. I'm like, what is going on, right? And then just being short-tempered, right? I'm snapping on everyone and I'm not even realizing what is happening. I'm just thinking, I gotta get this done. I don't have time. And I kept making all these excuses, right? I can't. And it's draining when you really talk to yourself that way, right? Like now I refuse to let myself do that. Instead, now I say, how can I, right? How can I get this done? How can I accomplish this task? So when that happens, I think that break, that was what happened, right? Like, so you feeling it, like you're going through these motions, not realize what's happened until you physically feel it. So like I said, those aches really, really, that was
Right.
the rough part. Yeah.
Thank you for sharing that with me. And let me tell you why. It's because sometimes we don't realize that a lot of that stress and a lot of that need to be perfect, it can turn up some other type of way. You understand what I'm saying? So for me, and I'm just going to share this with you, I was diagnosed with vertigo last year. You were saying some of the same things that was happening for me. I had two podcasts going on. I'm a caregiver for my mother. I got a husband, I got a, child, and then I got two older daughters, so I'm got multiple business. So boom, 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 boom. And when you feel and when you hear, you ignore it because you think about taking care of everybody else first before you take care of you. But in that same, and I'm just gonna be honest with you listeners, y'all know how I am. You are so high achieving that you can say, oh, I got 10 fingers, so I can do everything that these 10 fingers do. So you're trying to be two different people in one. So I totally hear you, everything. How can listeners, like, okay, hold on, that might be this and that might be that, and not go down that rabbit hole of thinking that illness could be something else, instead of checking it like, okay, maybe that's a stress. How can they go from that to figure it out? Okay, it's not stress. So let me sit back and what can I do about
Yeah, so it's taking inventory of what's going on in your life, right? Like, so, like I said, I was a CPA, so I use a lot of references to auditing and accounting. So it's taking that inventory of life, literally doing a life audit. Writing your list. And I always do this, right? Because you're going to have the good things and you're going to have the bad things. Writing down everything that's going on in your life and looking at it, a big picture. Okay, what is going on? Do I really need all these things on my to-do list, right? And when you're looking at it, you realize when you're talking to yourself about it, you'll feel like a twing here or a twitch here. You'll feel your body like kind of do a shift, right? If you're talking about your kids and like you want to have more time to go play with them, and all of a sudden you feel joy. You feel it in your body, right? Like your stomach starts feeling fuller, your heart feels purer. And then when you start thinking about like that spreadsheet on, at work that you've been dreading forever, you feel the doom and despair, your body like hunches over and all those things. Like you will notice those little things. If you were to take like 2 weeks of just doing a whole audit of it. And then once you have that list, that inventory of everything, look at what is no longer serving your purpose, right? If this is not giving you joy and pleasure, maybe you're not supposed to be doing it. Maybe it can be delegated to somebody else. Maybe it needs to just come off the list altogether, right? It's really having that conversation with yourself. And something you had said also was about, taking care of everyone else. We forget what they say on the plane. Put your oxygen mask on first before you help someone else, right? If you are tired, guess what? You can't help nobody else, right? You are struggling. But if you put like a little puff of oxygen, you might have a little bit of life in you again, right? So just, that's just something to slow down and think about. Like we have to be a part of the to-do list. We have to put the self-care on our schedule. Like I literally have on my calendar, okay, this is your day of rest, right? And then self-care is, 8 to 4 on a Sunday. I have it as an appointment. Right. So what does self-care mean for me? And what does it mean for you? Could it mean going to church? Does it mean going to get a spa? Does it mean taking a bath? Does it mean going for a walk? What is it for you? And what is it you enjoy? Block that out and put that as your time, your day. No one else can do it. It's just like an appointment.
Yeah. I love that. I love that, because I have my following, honestly, it has more men than it do women. But even in that detail, we don't take that time out because we are, breadwinners, or we have to take care of the household. And there's a lot of guilt that comes into that. I mean, we talk about that a lot, about not feeling guilty. And when we talk about self-love and when we talk about self-care, we try to implement that this is not selfish. This is the only way that we're going to be really, honestly, to be able to take care of our loved ones if we good. Because like you said, If I don't have any oxygen to put it on you, then I can't do
You're
nothing.
not doing CPR. That's
Yeah.
for sure. No, you're not. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like, when you think about that rest, right? Like you're able to just be more creative. Like that's what I noticed when I started like practicing the things that I'm preaching. It was, oh, now all these ideas are flowing. Now I'm able to talk to God and the universe and understand what my purpose is on this earth, right? It is not just to survive. It is literally to thrive and to help the next generation, right? And to help my peers right now, and even to help the older generation above me, right? Because they still sometimes they don't have it all figured out, right? So being able to take that step back and just say, oh, that's why I had to go through that, story and that chapter of my life, that mess, is because I had a message to deliver. But had I not rested, I'd probably still in the grind. Woe is me.
Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And let me tell you why. It's because just last month we're coming out of the mindfulness and presence was last month topic. And I have to say, honestly, I had to take a week off. Like I didn't record for a whole week. It's because I literally had to practice what I was preaching. I had to sit in it. I had to go to my golden rose room every morning and sit and listen to my body. My body said, baby, you're not going downstairs to the studio. You're going right into your room and you're going to lay down and you're going
Mm-hmm.
to rest. But in that rest for that week, it was so many things that was coming to me, so many amazing ideas. But I also remember when you talked about that audit, that's why I was pointing at you like, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I started to audit things in my life. Was like, do you really need that? Is that really for you? Is that something that do for you to validate you, or is that something out there to validate others? And I think we get confused with that when you start to sit in it. When you really start to sit in it, in those conversations which you have with yourself. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
might think I'm crazy, but my conversations, they be real. Girl, now you need to sit down because that's not what you want.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to be real with yourself in that, or you're going to continue to be in this toxic situation with yourself that's going to spill out to others.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And like even when, people always used to say, yeah, you shouldn't talk to yourself, or, that thought, right? That's a thought, because if we're able to have a conversation with your higher power, you're able to have a conversation with your loved ones, and we're talking about self-love, why wouldn't I have a meeting with myself, right? Why wouldn't I see what's going on with myself? Am I living for myself, or am I performing for everyone else, right? Like, how do I need to show up for myself? So yes, I think it is so key, right? Like that's what journaling is, right? It is having that conversation with yourself, taking that moment with the mindfulness. I love the meditation to start, the session ahead of time, right? Just to be centered and be grounded. So you're not thinking about all the things that you got going on. It is not easy at first, right? As the overachiever I am, like meditation, I was like, this is so stupid. I don't got time for this, right? And I'm like, all right, 5 minutes, fine. You get 5 minutes. And like my mind will start and then it wanders. And it's like, well, if you wandered a little bit, bring yourself back, right? The podcast that I was listening to at the time. And it's just like, oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
That's what I need to do. So, it might not be perfect, but what is perfect? Right?
Right.
That's the problem. That's you're setting yourself up for failure. So it's
Right.
like progress. So I'm very proud of my 5 minutes. I wish one day I get to 30, but right now I'm very happy with my 5. I find that sometimes I, am still meditating without it needing to be like with music and all the
Yeah.
things. Like if I just stop and like there's no sounds and I'm in my car or I'm right here in my office, then that's still meditating, right? It doesn't have to be some formal way of it for it to show up for you.
Right. It's not cookie cutter. It's what works for you. And I think that's the biggest lesson to learn is that when you are meditating, this is you in your moment, in your
Mhm.
present, with you in whatever is happening in that space. Whatever is happening in that space, whether you're in your car. Yes, I was a meditating food in my car. And it doesn't mean that it doesn't mean that. It just
Mhm.
means when you're in your thoughts and you allow those thoughts to help give you answers and guide you to something that you wouldn't be able to do because there's so much noise around.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. And going through my trauma healing and all those things, like I used to say, why did I feel like I couldn't get something done, right? Like I used to want to be a teacher and I had to go back and say, well, who told me I couldn't, right? Where did that conversation come from, right? Because again, we're having let everyone else put their thoughts into us. It's time for us to talk to ourselves, right? No, you can do that. You are capable. You are loved. You are adaptable, right? Telling yourself all these things is like your voice needs to be heard, right? Someone else might not listen to it, but you will listen to yourself if you actually talk to yourself out loud, right? Because now you're hearing it differently versus like, oh, my mama said that or my best friend said that. No, I said that. I said that to myself, so that means I'm going to commit to it. And you know, like even with the self-love, like having boundaries, right? That's also something to put in place. When you put those in place to honor yourself with the meditations and just being within and talking to yourself, it really does make a difference.
Yeah, it does. So one of the things that you advocate for is the immersive retreat. What makes retreat such a powerful form of healing?
Mm. It gives you the time to like literally put your phone down and see all that is like in front of you, right? You have the nature walks, you have the serene, calming spirit of just wellness all around you, right? No one is hustling, bustling, right? Like I'm originally from New York City. So when I go into retreats, it's like you're hearing the water and sparkling or whatever the water sounds is making. And you see everyone is centered. Everyone is joyful. Everyone is calm. And when you get around those retreats, you realize I'm not alone, right? You have that time and you start seeing that other people are going through things, and it puts you into perspective of, okay, I'm going through this. I've heard this other person is going through something. It might be a little bit worse. It might be a little bit better, but it puts your life into perspective to that gratitude. I'm so grateful because now I'm able to stop, reconnect, and look and see and appreciate what I have. And now I could go back into the world and say, I reflected and I'm now ready to share what I have to do.
Yeah. I went to my very first retreat just last year in December. I closed out the year for that to be able to come in the new year as my rebirth year. And I spent 3 amazing days learning different things about myself. And I shared it with the listeners about a power that I didn't know that I had, a magical thing that I had inside of me, and it was just revealed to me right there in that session, and it was amazing. Just learning the breathing exercises, just being in a different environment altogether, it helps you to open up and see things from a different perspective. That's great, and I love that you're doing that. That's something that you are doing. From those who can't attend a retreat just yet, what are some ways that they can do to create those moments of rest and reconnection to their daily lives?
Yeah. So, I mean, one thing is to just, again, well, after you looked at your life and seeing what's going on, is put in that time block, right? Looking at what do I have available towards me, for me. So, you might be able to just say, I have a day, or I might only have an hour. And when you commit to that, it's like, okay, what is my next plan? Is it that I want to focus on my mental health, my physical health, right? My holistic health? Do you want to focus on your money, right? Because we got to talk about that wealth. That's also very important, right? That's part of my, the retreat I'm having in October. And then, one is that personal identity, right? How's your personal brand? How are you going to show up? So like, what is it you need from that retreat, right? First asking yourself that question, because you can go to any retreat, right? There's so many, everyone has a retreat. There's a whole website. So it's looking at what is it you need out of it? What are you looking to get out of it? And then from there, like, let's peel it back and let's talk about what it is. Like, again, if it's wellness, for example, and you just need to practice your meditation. So put that hour aside and say, I'm going to do 5 minutes of breathing, right? Let's do breath work, right? Let's do some yoga stretches, right? Yoga or Pilates, whatever it is that you find joy. And you're like, oh, I always wanted to try this, right? That is, create your own retreat at home, right? Bring your girlfriends in, your guy friends, and say, we're going to do this in our house. We can get an Airbnb. There's so many ways to do this, right? But all it is just being disconnected from what's going on in your life. Like, just give yourself that space and that permission to do that, right? Don't think about all the things you have, because yes, it's all going to be there when you get back, right? It's giving yourself grace and putting those boundaries and having that idea of, You're not alone, and you just need time to reflect and heal.
As I'm sitting here listening to you, first of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for tapping that thing when it said that we matched and coming on into my thing and say, hey, I'm here. And it's because you were there for a minute, and I apologize because it took me because we just opening back up, but it opened up right on time. Like you really literally coming to me right on time, baby. And I don't even understand. I don't even think you understand that it's so, and I know my listeners like, Naomi, you say this about everybody, but no, baby. This is a confirmation for me. You just said a whole bunch of stuff right there that was like ding, 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 ding.
Amazing.
So that week that you spent off, ding, 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 ding.
Yes.
There it is. There it is right.
You needed it.
Yeah. There it is right
there.
there.
And that's the whole thing, right? Like everyone thinks we have to go, but when you pause, you'll be surprised what walks into your life.
Yeah.
Right. So like it wasn't that you missed this appointment or like that message. It was the message had to wait for when you are ready to receive it. Right. I'll give you an example. Like I have family drama, everyone does. And, I had a sister who apologized for something that happened from our childhood. And I wasn't ready to receive that message, right? She had left the message in February. I listened to that 2 days ago because I was just working on another retreat that I'm helping some of my other coaches. And we're doing a healing one for people who are like really dealing with some trauma. And I'm doing the topic on forgiveness. And that was a heavy one to do, like I'm dealing with, ending a marriage and all the things. And I didn't think I was there. And she's like, I felt called to make you the leader for this topic. And I was like, okay, me talking about forgiveness, that's going to be something. And that was eye-opening, right? Like having that conversation. And then I was like, I know I had that message. I wasn't even thinking she was apologizing. I just wasn't ready. But because of saying that forgiveness is not from her, it's me giving forgiveness to myself, right? Yeah. Forgiving what I didn't know, forgiving them because it's more power for me. Yes. And when I was able to receive it, I said, look at God. Yes. Okay. You wanted me to have that message. You told me to hold off on that until I was ready. Yes. And I am so thankful for that moment.
Yes. I love that. Thank you for sharing that. When we first began in the year of rebirth, I'm the type of person that I have the whole schedule. I have the topics. I have the outlines. I got all the show ready, girl. When God speaks, when it happens, girl, I was not nowhere on none of that stuff. That it was still on topic, but it wasn't none of the stuff that I thought that I was going to talk about. What I love is about when you are truly open and you are aware and you just ready for that. God will use you as a vessel. He will use your life in so many different ways. When you think you're going through some shit, these are just lessons because I need you to be able to teach these to others right now that's going through it, that don't have the ability, is not even searching for the healing to know what that look like. You know what that look like because you're going through it. And you are being accountable for who you are and not blaming no one. So your point of where you at is totally different from what my other loved ones at. So I need the ones that are ready. I need y'all to step up and be ready. So I thank you for sharing that and being real. Like, no, I wasn't ready then, but then it came and tapped you on the shoulder now. Like, yeah, I'm ready because it was already known that someone was going to come to you to talk about forgiveness. Yes. And I know when you first thought about like, I ain't forgave her yet. Then you had to go, you had to do the work. That's what makes you do the work when you be like, okay, I'm going to go to that. When, when you ready now.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. Like I was before I was not ready. And then I was like, what you trying to tell me? I'm ready to forgive these other people too. Because I want to be able to practice what I preach, like how you mentioned it, right? So I'm not going to go out and tell people to go do something I haven't done for myself. So for me, I was like, well, if I'm going to do a forgiveness workshop at this other retreat, I got to forgive some people. I got to forgive myself. And that was really like, oh, wow, like powerful and emotional. Like the tears came down. I allowed them to flow because they needed to be had. And it was a beautiful moment. And it just propelled me forward even more. Like even when it was happening, I said, okay, this is what we're doing. We're not going to try to avoid it. We're not pushing this down the road because we've been doing that. It's coming. So let's just face it. Let's just do it. Let's experience it. And what do you need, Nicole? Do you need a day off? Do you need to take a walk? Do you need a massage? What is it you need? Do you need a hug? What is it you need right now? Like, I had to literally ask myself that. And I was like, I don't know. And then what I just ended up doing was literally everything. I went and hung out with one girlfriend. I went and hung out with another person. I like hugged myself. You know, I did everything possible. And I said, you know what I didn't do? I ain't cry. I didn't allow myself to feel this emotions. I'm trying to stay busy. There goes that overachiever again, right? Trying to, oh, how am I going to check this off? Like, no, what is it you haven't done? I haven't cried. All right, cry and stretch. Let's get the stress out of your hips, because you know your hips is tight, right? Oh, all the emotions started coming out at that moment. Once I did my I did child's pose, and then, you know, I was just like, oh, okay, this is what you have a lot to say. And it was like all the words, all the moments, all the conversations happened. And then it was just like, I've been the victim in this story this whole time. I never thought that other person was a victim. Right? I wasn't even trying to understand them. Yeah. But now, because I was like, I'm ready to receive forgiveness, and I'm ready to really truly say it and believe it, and not just say the words, yeah, I forgive you, whatever. It was just like, no, thank you for saying that apology. And you know what? You didn't even need to say that apology to me. Right? And then there's some people that you don't even want to forgive. Yeah. Right? You don't want to forgive them to their face. And that's fine. I've done that. I've gone to ChatGPT, told them about that person. They did ran the whole thing through. And I said, write an apology letter to them that I'm not sending. And ChatGPT wrote like the most beautiful message. And when I said bawl my eyes out at that message, yeah, I'm like, they're not getting it though. And I'm okay. I'm okay with it, right? Because I gave them the forgiveness. Yeah. But I already know opening that door is going to start more drama. Yeah. They don't need the forgiveness. They probably won't even receive it anyway, right? Like, it's not even my business. That's just something I needed for myself. That you had. So that's what I always encourage people. Like, when we talk about that self-love, like, you got to forgive yourself. Yeah. Forgive yourself for not what you didn't know, for how you reacted. You have to, right? For what not showing up the way you wanted to, like all of that, you have to forgive yourself. That is the only way forward for this self-love. Like, that is something I'm really like going through the workshop for myself. Yeah, that forgiveness is real. I don't know who needed that message, because I'm definitely feeling it. And for some reason, since it came down these last couple of days, yeah, I know that's not just for me.
Yeah, thank you. You know what? Thank you for sharing that. Because as you were saying that, I was hearing grace, I was hearing empathy, I was hearing compassion, and I was hearing self-compassion. So I was hearing those words right there in that moment. And yeah, I trust there's a lot of ones that needed to hear that, because it's very hard to understand what forgiveness really is. And it is not really about that other person, but it's really a gift to yourself. It really is. It really is. So really thank you for sharing that. And just, girl, yeah. Girl. All right, so we usually receive a whole lot of questions, and I want to ask you this one question that we often get. How do one set boundaries around rest without feeling guilty?
That's a great question. So one way is to start with the calendar, right? Like I was saying before, where can you put it on your calendar and block it out, like non-negotiable. It doesn't have to be 8 hours, right? And once you establish that, you can say, okay, I want to, maybe it's weekly, maybe it's monthly, however it is, but put it on your schedule like it's an appointment, like it's a hair appointment, a nail appointment that you cannot miss, because then your nails are going to be raggedy and, you know, you know what I mean? Like, you have to set that up. And then once you do that, like, again, what does it look like for you? I don't like to just tell people to go do XYZ if that's not their personality. Right. So you really have to understand what is it you need and what is it you want for that rest to look like.
Yeah. Here's another one. What if a person feels like they're losing momentum by slowing down?
I'm gonna tell you that's a lie and a thought. Well, I won't call it a lie. Let me not call you a liar, you know, because you get in trouble for saying those words. But it's a thought, right? And when we have these thoughts, it creates these feelings and these actions. We ends up with these results, right? So depending on what your thought is, of course your brain is gonna prove you right. Because who's the smartest person you know? Yourself, right? So if you start changing that, you know, that thought process, imagine what you're opening up. Like, you know what I mean? Like, if I wish I had the client right here so I could have the conversation, because I need follow-up. Like, I call Cap. I bullshit. Like, you know what I mean? Like, let's break this down for why you think you don't have the time, right?
Yeah.
But it's literally looking at that schedule and seeing what is time? What is it you're trying to do? Right? Because if it's just I just need to like stretch, okay, how much time that takes?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's literally like I say it with love. And sometimes it comes off harsh, sometimes it comes off gentle. It just depends on the environment of my client. And if you've been saying, oh, I need to find time, you wait for the time to find you or you try to find it.
Right.
Right. So like what conversation are we really having? Like, let's be really truthful with ourselves. Right. Because did you need to do everything on your schedule today? Was that all required of you? Or could you have delegated some of that work and taken that time for your rest?
Yeah.
Right.
I love that. Yeah. 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 I'm sorry to cut you off, but yes, that's it. And because I want to confirm what you're saying. I truly want, when I told you about that 1 week, that 1 week I had to, and I thought about that slowing down. I thought about, oh, if I slow down, if I do this, is it going to mess up my such and such and such? I said, girl, you need this because you ain't going to be able to do it no other way. You have to take this week. Right. And during that week, that rest for me was getting my backyard together, just organizing different things. And as I'm doing that, more ideas came to me. It was like more clear, more open. And again, that brought me back to the audit, and that I didn't even know I was auditing, but that's what you said I was doing. It's like, that's not, you know, and just having those real conversations with yourself. So I'm gonna confirm. I ain't got to be your client. I confirm. She's saying she's speaking right.
I love it because it's we're just going through the motions, right? And that pause again, it's like a race. When you're learning to run a marathon, you're not doing 26 miles every day. Some days you're doing the long distance, some days you do a short distance, some days you rest. You get stronger by resting. So you might need to slow down. Maybe you're moving so fast you don't even realize the other things you're missing as you're driving so fast down that road. So why can't we slow down?
Yes.
Right? So it's like it's having those questions of who told you that? Who told you can't slow down? Like, where are you getting that conversation from, right? And it's like, no, I have to get this done. According to who? Yeah. Like, if you have a client deadline, or deliverable that, like, absolutely is, like, life-changing for that person, that's one conversation. But when you take that moment to say, why am I doing this? Like, wait, who told me I don't put that pressure on myself. Ain't no one else put that pressure on me, right? And it's like, oh, all right, I need myself to the hell up sometime. Like, I need to really talk to myself, and with all the love, but like I really need to talk to myself about how we're overcommitting to too many things, right? Because now we running in all circles, right? We think we running straight, but literally you're just chasing your tail. Yeah, you have to slow down sometimes. It's okay to slow down. Yeah, I promise you'll be so much faster when you come out of it.
Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Because I always been a sprinter. I'm learning to be a long distance runner right now.
Yes. I don't like running far, but I know that's a great analogy. I know no one's getting them like, all right, we're gonna do 26 miles, right? Like it's not realistic.
Like, but I get it now.
Yeah.
But I do. I get it now. I do. I get it now. It's like, baby, just take your time, slow down. Enjoy this moment. Watch everything. Because when you're running fast, you don't see shit. Excuse my language. You don't see nothing. Yeah. But if you're taking that nice slow jog and now you're able to see everything.
Right. It's funny you say that because my girlfriend and I, like, we can go down the same road, right? Just driving. Like, I could be driving from my house to her house, or she's driving from her house to my house. And last week we were in the car together and in her side of town. And she's like, what's that building right there? And I'm like, I'm driving. I'm not paying attention to the road. And it's like, because we're all like that analogy right there. You're driving so fast on the freeway and you're not even in the passenger seat. Like, maybe you need to be the passenger seat of your life, right? And just watch what's going on. And that just came down to me right there because I didn't feel that before. But like you talking about, I'm like, we have to just slow down. Like, let's just go on the side, the street walking, the school district area and go 25 miles per hour. We're going to pick back up. We don't go back to the 65. miles per hour, right? It's okay. We slow down, let the kids walk by. You get to stop and see what's going on in the world and in life, and then you take back off. It's okay. We still get to our destination.
Yes, exactly. When you just said that, that's what I did when I went through this thing when I surrender. When I surrendered. And it was funny because on my other podcast, Ask Nyomi, I actually did a whole entire show on that and I had read the book by Michael E. Singer, the Act of Surrendering, that book, the Surrendered Experiment. And that book really changed my life because that helped me to slow down, helped me to slow down. But in the process of that, I kind of understood I didn't want to be in a driver's seat anymore. And so when I feel myself get ready to go back over the driver's seat, I said, girl, no, go back on that passenger seat because you're missing parts of your life. So when you said that, I started like, yep, there it is. It is. Because when you're thinking about it, you're so much in control that you don't have time to really look at things of a new different perspective, because the blinders that you have on, they like this.
Yes.
They like this. And then it's like in this, when you're surrendering, you're trusting God and you're trusting the God within you. That is what it is. You're trusting your relationship. And that's what truly confirmed me on always having my relationship with God and not always having to go to church, but having that one-on-one through my prayer. That was through my meditation, through all of those. And so that is when I knew, oh, okay. All this, I was supposed to go through all this stuff because it prepared me for this moment right here to even be speaking and talking with you. This is just all of it. If we really look at all of these things, and at that moment when those things are happening, we don't understand it then and understand it now. But even if somebody is going through this right now, going through something traumatic right now, just know, pray, and then it might be time for you to go.
Yeah.
It's time for you to leave. It's time for you to leave that situation, wherever it is. Because guess what? You're learning now. Now go. Because there are so many things, there's so many people out there that can help you. Not even you have to step in somebody's room, just on the internet. There is so many ways through a message. If you be open, if you take that moment in that time of that self-care or that rest. I had to take that week off. I couldn't care about if I was going to lose, people, listeners or whatever. I had to take care of myself and rest and knew that I deserved it.
Yes. Yes. Because we all deserve it, right? You don't have to do something in order to have it.
Yes.
It's necessary, right? We keep making it part of the to-do, and it needs to be number one. It needs to be the first thing, right? Like we talk about, like for me, I'm very spiritual, but I grew up as a Christian. And how many days did it take? 7 days. And there was one day of what? Rest.
Rest.
Right? Like he did not work every single day, right? And it's probably the same thing across all religions, right? There's probably like they have a day of resting and reflecting, right? And for some reason in this society that we're in America, Black women too, right? It's go, 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 get it done, get it done, get it done. And it's just like, as you were telling how you had to take the rest and all the turns and the twists, that is like having the GPS, right? You have the GPS on, you know how to get home. I don't need to listen to GPS. The GPS literally trying to tell you there's an accident ahead. Nah, I need to go this way. I know this is the fastest way, right? And then boom, you stuck in traffic, not moving. Yeah. It's like, had you went that detour, right, which would have been rest, that could have been the detour because you didn't need to sit in that traffic. Now you stuck. Now you really not doing nothing, right?
Yeah.
All because you just decided to go somewhere. You decided you knew better than everybody else, including yourself, because you're not even talking to yourself. You just going through the motion. You on that hamster wheel. Get off the hamster wheel. Take a break. Drink some water.
I love this. So you know what, Nicole? I am so we gotta go. But I thank you so much. This conversation has been powerful. It's been so confirming to me. It's been like rejuvenate, girl. This was it. This was all it. And I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did. That you did. So let my listeners know, where can they find you at if they are looking for any help or any coaching for you in this specific field, let them know where they can find you at.
They can find me on LinkedIn. I am Nicole Richards, CPA, or they can go to my website, www.cpa-coaching.com. And on there, there's an email list that you can subscribe to, or you can do a 1-minute burnout assessment just to see where you are, and then maybe book a discovery call, and let's see how we can get you on the road to recovery from burnout. And with the emails, you'll be able to see the upcoming retreats that we have in store, which I'm very excited for.
Beautiful, beautiful. I'm going to say this again. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, God, for just bringing you across my way. Seriously, at a much needed time right now. And I know, especially for our listeners, as we going into this, as we in the middle of this new year, by how crazy it is right now for us. And I thank you. I thank you for doing the work. I thank you to be courageous just to step into your own power. So thank you again.
Thank you so much. I'm so honored. Thank you.
And to my listeners, I want y'all to remember that you are so worthy of this rest. Y'all are. Don't feel guilty. Think about self. Think about yourself, because that's the only way that you're going to be able to take care of anybody else. And I promise you, that is the truth. Y'all heard my stories of my vertigo. Y'all heard my stories on the trigger that it came back just because I was trying to do too much. You know that hamster wheel that she was talking about? I was on that hamster wheel. Y'all heard the conversations with me and Dr. Will. You've heard it. So if anything, this episode is a confirmation. Get out of that driver's seat. Get back in that passenger seat of your life. Don't be a sprinter. It's time to run that marathon. So if you know anybody that would need to hear this episode, please share with them. All right. Again, it's your girl, the goddess, Nyomi Banks here. Have an amazing, amazing day. Have a good one. Thank you for joining us on this journey of discovering and empowerment here at the Season of Self-Love podcast. Remember, embracing self-love is a continuous journey, and we're so glad to have you with us. So if you enjoyed today's episode, please leave us a review. And don't forget to join our community on Facebook at Season of Self-Love. Connect with like-minded individuals who are also on their self-love journey. Now, if you have any questions or topics that you'd like for us to explore, we love to hear from you. Email us at seasonofselflove@gmail.com and let your voice be heard. So until next time, take a moment for yourself today and remember, you are worthy of love, joy, and all the beautiful things that life has to offer. Have a good day.